Hey guys, welcome once again to Let 'em Run here tonight, Thursday night, the last day of July, July 31st. Summer is just rolling along, and I don't like it. I don't know about you, but I certainly enjoy the summertime for many, many reasons. Warm weather, actually super duper hot weather here in New Jersey, in Hamilton, but we had a big storm come through, and it's a little bit cooler now. We're not going to be cool though. Let It Run's not going to be cool. Last week, we went up to Saratoga, hoping to do a broadcast up there on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on Saratoga's big races last week, and unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, let's say, myself and my good friend Jimmy Mayer and our significant others went up there to beautiful Saratoga and had an opportunity to see Sovereignty put in a super race once again to prove that he's probably the best horse right now in America at that level in that 3-year-old category, 4-year-old category. So, we're going to get an opportunity to talk a little bit more about Saratoga again today. We missed out on our big time track last week, Gulfstream Park, which is our home base, so to speak. We go there every week, and we're back again this week in Gulfstream Park, where we will be talking about once again the late pick 5 this Saturday, August 2nd, looking at the late pick 5 sequence there once again. Again, fast, and this time firm down there at Gulfstream Park because they're back on turf. Love it when they get back on turf. So they've got a couple turf races in the pick 5 sequence. Again, my understanding was they take a break from turf to let the turf recover, recoup, and renew, and they have it up and running and ready to go. So that's exciting. I know myself, and I'm speaking for a lot of my other handicapping friends, that we love to see good turf racing. And again, they are still in their meet, their Royal Palm meet, where they're continuing to run some very nice races, some claiming $10,000 races. They have a very nice, very competitive race in the sequence of the late pick 5 at Gulfstream Park, Saturday, August 7th, with a nice 1-mile turf race, $75,000 race. We're going to get to that and cover that as well tonight on our weekly One Horse Wonder segment. And again, once again, for our viewers who are tuning in once again, thank you very much for tuning in. If you're a new viewer, we welcome you and like to tell you that we are aired on Capital Sports Network YouTube, and we also put out our picks, our weekly picks on Florida Sports Talk. So be sure to check that out, where we cover some of the races in a little more detail with not just our top picks, but our contenders as well. Tonight, though, in our segment, our One Horse Wonder segment, we will be covering our top picks. We will cover the rest of the contenders that we look at on Saturday at 12:30, once again on Capital Sports Network YouTube. My buddy, my partner, who's often with me and has been with me in the past on our Saturday podcast, miss him, love him, Sean Miller, busy guy, keeping things rolling along. We're continuing to try and build our ability to get our information out to many more platforms. Sean and the other individuals that he's working with are doing a great job. And we have a very, very special announcement to make that I'm going to make at the end of the podcast regarding our podcast on Saturday at 12:30. As you know, this Saturday at Saratoga, a very big race where we're going to see a lot of good horses in that race, which we will also cover that race as well when we get to the Whitney. Got some very good horses in that race, big field. That's going to be nice to see. Again, last week at Saratoga on Saturday, they only had 5 horses in the field. Some good horses, don't get me wrong. Moplex was the horse we kind of were looking at. Sovereignty, did something he not typically does. He tracked the speed. I mean, he was right with Moplex when Moplex came out of the gate. Everyone knew that horse was going to get the lead, but Sovereignty didn't stay back. Again, it was a 5-horse field, and you can be sure that there was some discussion on how Sovereignty was going to handle that. He was right up there with Moplex, and when they came around the far turn, ran by him. Baeza tried to make a big run, did not make it. Great horse, Baeza is. Sandman, another great horse. Just Sovereignty is just too good. And of course, we're going to see Sovereignty and many of these other horses at the Breeders' Cup in Del Mar in November. So let's be sure to take a look at that. There's a number of win and you're in races that are going to continue on at Saratoga and other tracks around the country. Del Mar is the place to be in November when the Breeders' Cup will go there, including the big race, the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is going to be great this year. All the handicapping podcasts are talking about this race already. It's only July, or actually August. It'll be August tomorrow, about how good this race is going to be. Could be one of the best Breeders' Cup Classics that they've had in a while with some of the horses that are anticipated getting in. So, again, we're going to cover our one-horse wonder pick in the late pick 5 sequence at Gulfstream Park for Saturday, August the 2nd, as well as race 8, a nice, the 4-star Dave 1-mile turf race at Saratoga on Saturday. Very nice race with some good horses in that race. And then, of course, the big race, which is being run in Saratoga. I believe it's race 11, the Whitney $1 million race, big field, lots of options to look for. We're going to cover that race as well. And once again, like I said, stay tuned for a very special announcement at the end of the podcast regarding our Saturday podcast at 12:30. I don't think you're going to want to miss it. Okay, let's get it on. Let's get my eyes on, and let's do it right now. Let's go. So let's talk about the first race at Gulfstream Park, race 7, 3:58 Eastern Standard Time. 1 mile and 16th on synthetic. It's a claiming $8,000 race. Non-winners are 2 lifetime. Again, Gulfstream Park is still in the Royal Palm meet. Great races, competitive races, and absolutely value in many of these races. There's no doubt about it. If you follow along with Let 'em Run the last few weeks, other than last week when we had our technical difficulties, and we were planning on handicapping and breaking down Thursdays and Saturdays races, some of the races at Saratoga, but we didn't do it. But we're back. We're back right now doing Gulfstream Park. So race 7, 3:58 Eastern Time, 1 mile and 16th on synthetic, claiming 8,000, non-winners of 2. Once again, we're going to go through our top pick. And again, for those of you who are new to our podcast, I break down my races for the week, meaning for the podcast tonight. I do them on Monday. I print out my past performances, and then I go through them. And I look at them, and I try and decide, okay, based on what I see, I don't know what the odds are. The odds are not there, and I love that. I think that absolutely is a big difference when I'm breaking down these past performances. I'll pick a horse out, and could be 10-1. Could be 14-1, could be the favorite, 9-5, 8-5. We're going to see that a little bit here on our top picks. And again, I did not know the odds when we did it, so it ended up being at that top pick. Perhaps was the top pick, and that's beginning with our top pick in race 7, number 4, Mr. Brazil, 5-2 morning line. Second time at this surface and this level, this $8,000 claiming level. Could be the difference for this horse. They're changing the jockey back to Lionel Reyes, who's ridden him many, many times before at this distance and at this surface and at Gulfstream Park. It's the third race, third off a layoff, and the trainer, a sneaky trainer down there in Gulfstream Park, Ronald Coy, hits at 33%, third off the layoff. Again, a small sample size of 9, but I'll take 33% at any time. And Lionel Reyes is one of the better jockeys down there at Gulfstream Park. Edgar Zayas, once again, is not there, likely to be riding at Saratoga. Hopefully, we wish him the best of luck up there, and he gets some good mounts and some good some good rides, and you're likely to get that. This horse also was the favorite in the last 3 races, and perhaps did not win. Not perhaps did not win. Did not win. But this is the second time at this $8,000 claiming level, and I think that's going to be the change. Also, changing jockeys from one of our other jockeys that we really like down there, Yalber Torres, an apprentice jockey, going from that jockey back to Rise, who I said again knows this horse very well. Raced on this horse in a lot of allowance, 25K races, claiming 25K races. Back at this level again for the second time, and I think that's going to give this horse a big chance in race 7. So let's go ahead and look at race 8, 4:34 Eastern time, back on the turf at Gulfstream Park. This is a nice, really nice $75,000 stakes race. It's the Bears Den, $75,000, 1 mile on the turf, and very likely again to be the firm turf down there at Gulfstream Park. We looked at our top pick at the number 4, Forged Steel. The morning line for this runner is 7-5. Again, another favorite. When we looked at the past performances, the odds weren't in front of me. I had no idea, but this horse certainly looks to be the favorite, the deserved favorite. And of course, trainer Saffie Joseph Jr., the top trainer, one of the top trainers, I should say, now down in the Gulfstream Park. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this horse has the Lone E Brisnet rating, which means this horse wants the front, is going to get the front. And at a mile, I think that's the right distance for this horse. It's the lone E in the race, which means there's no other horses who really want to go with him. Has a very good U.S. time form, early pace figure of 107. There aren't any other horses in here. And getting a very hot jockey coming around in Gulfstream Park, Rael Gutierrez, currently at 50%. That's solid. And I'm not talking about he won 1 out of 2 races, 6 for 12. First place finishes, 1 third place finish, at the second place finish, 50%. That's pretty solid. And Saffie Joseph Jr. doesn't have Zayas. Okay, let's take the next hottest jockey, the best jockey down there at the moment, percentage-wise, Rael Gutierrez, who's riding super hot. This horse has been in some big races before. Grade 3 race, the Street Sense down at Churchill Downs, raced at Kentucky Downs, and is back now at Gulfstream Park. Working out well for the return. Has been off since the 4th of July. Not too long, second off a layoff. And there's no question Saffie Joseph Jr. knows how to get horses ready. Interestingly enough as well, Saffie Joseph Jr. and Rael Gutierrez have teamed up to win at 67%. That's a pretty nice number out of 6 times they've done it so far. So when Saffie Joseph Jr. asks Rael Gutierrez to take them out, that's a pretty solid bet. So I like that horse a lot. That's our top pick in race 9. Nice little stakes race down there. 75K, a mile on the turf. The Bears Den. We're going with the number 4, Forged Steel. Okay, let's get to one of my favorite picks of the day in this late pick 5 sequence. And also, if you followed us before on Let Him Run and on Capital Sports Network, and you've seen our podcast, you know we put together a nice little new sequence, a nice segment that we call our Speed Play of the Day. I'm not going to play the audio that we use when we do that. We'll try and get that to be a little bit better situation rather than putting my phone up here to the microphone. But don't get me wrong, it's no joke. The speed play today has been hitting really strong, and we've got another big-time speed play of the day here in race 9, 5:11 Eastern Standard Time, a mile and 70 on the synthetic, claiming $10,000 race. Love the number 10 horse, Light Fury. Already beat a couple horses that are in this race. Is not the lone speed. There is another rating of E8 for a horse in here. Again, that's the Brisnet rating that they give to horses that like to get to the front. And that's extremely, in my opinion, watching a lot of these races at Gulfstream Park and handicapping a lot of races at Gulfstream Park. That's a big factor in races at this level, claiming 10,000, claiming 8,000, non-winners of 2, 10,000, etc. If a horse has speed and wants to show speed and can show speed and is ready to show speed, that's a gigantic asset. And I think that's the case here with Light Fury. Also, number one, Prime Power. Something else that Brisnet puts out that we use quite a bit at this level of racing, and it's worked out really well for us. Hot trainer Carlos David is asking Edwin Gonzalez to get on this horse. They click together quite a bit at a 36% rate. I'm talking not 10 times, but talking about out of 45 races. This horse loves Gulfstream Park, loves the distance. I think, and again, is in post 10. Not the most favorable post that I think that would be a good post for a speed horse. Doesn't matter to me. If there are no scratches and Light Fury, the number 10 horse, stays in the 10 post, I'm still going to like this horse as our speed play of the day. Love to see that horse stay at 4-1 when they go off. That would be great. Again, hot jockey trainer, buyer speed figure that fits tremendously here. Last time out at the same level, won in a nice field of 10, was in the 7 post at that situation. So not terribly much different than this, but perhaps a scratch or two will give this horse a little more of an edge to do exactly what we see this horse doing as our speed play of the day. Light Fury, Edwin Gonzalez, Carlos David getting together again to put this horse to the lead and also take them from gate to wire. Another factor that gives me a reason to really like this horse a lot is Carlos David, the trainer. When he does claim repeater, I mean, this is a repeating 2 races back was a $20,000 claiming race. The last race out that this horse won was a $10,000 claimer. And if Carlos David says, okay, we're going to do another claim repeater, which is exactly what this race is, he wins at 30% of the time out of a sample of 60. So again, that's another reason to put your finger on this horse. Light Fury, 4-1, race 9 at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. Okay. And that horse, I may, if I put together, not if, I'm sure I will, put together a pick 5 ticket there at Gulfstream Park. That may be a horse that I look to single because I think that horse is just that good. And then there's certainly maybe some value, which we'll talk about on Saturday with some of our other contenders, because most of the horses that we looked at in this race were favorites. Not this next race, not race 10, 5:47 Eastern Standard Time. It's a mile on dirt. So they're kind of mixing up synthetic, turf, dirt. Love that. When Gulfstream Park gets back to turf, it makes a difference because you get an opportunity to look at some different options in terms of whether you like. I know some of my handicapping friends, colleagues like to do just dirt. They like to do just turf, perhaps synthetic. But here at Gulfstream Park, now that they're back on turf, you have an opportunity to do all 3. So let's go to race 10, 5:47 Eastern Standard Time, 1 mile on dirt. A nice little optional claiming $25K non-winners of 1, 2. I went with the number 6, and not just because I was in Saratoga last weekend, but I think this horse is kind of a very interesting horse. Morning line is 15-1, and I like this horse. Even before I knew what the line was, I like it more now at 15-1. I'd love to see that stay at 15-1. Being taken over in terms of the riding for the first time by Jose Morelos. Pretty hot jockey down there at Gulfstream Park. Knows how to win even better when he's riding a horse on the dirt. Now, this horse he's got 1 for 9, so he's only had 1 lifetime win, which makes him eligible for this race in terms of the conditions that they call non-winners of 1. But there's some conditions, not just non-winners of 1 lifetime. It's a non-winners of 1 of certain conditions that they break down. So this horse fits into this condition pretty well. And in addition to that, just recently the training got taken over by Colin Marak, a very good underrated trainer down there at Gulfstream Park. Hits at about 22%. It's his first claim. And that's an even better reason to like him because the horse is going from turf to dirt. That's a 60% angle for Colin Marak. Off this type of layoff, 31 to 60 days, 40%. 32% dirt trains horses very well for dirt. This horse is working out well for the return. You don't see those workouts in your past performances unless you go deeper into some of the options that are out there for your information. So he's had 2 workouts since his last race on June 28th. And last time out, he stopped. He just stopped. And that wasn't a race. That was on turf. He's only raced on dirt 2 times. One of those times was the Breeders' Cup Futurity against East Avenue, Ferocious, and others. Don't think that horse belonged in that race. He broke his maiden in his first time out down in Indiana. They put him right at Keeneland, again, in the Breeders' Cup Futurity. Certainly didn't belong in that race. It finished 9th, 22 lengths out. Then started to run a lot on synthetic and turf. Now back to dirt for the first time in a while. And at 15-1, I'm going to give this horse a shot. So that's number 6, Saratoga Cruiser, 15-1 in race number 10 at Gulfstream Park. Okay, let's go to race 11. Another nice little turf race. Again, in this sequence, we have a nice mix of 2 synthetic, 2 turf, and 1 dirt race, and a nice, as we previously talked about, a nice stakes race, the Bears Den Stakes race, a mile on turf. This race, race 11, 6:22 Eastern Standard Time, a mile and 16th on the turf. We're talking about a maiden claiming race, 17,500. So every horse in here is up for claim. Some of the horses are dropping from maiden special weight into maiden claiming. There are a couple of horses that are running for the first time. So you've got a mix of different horses. We looked and liked the number 7, Sigan Viendo, 8-5 morning line, likely favorite. Has shown some speed in the past on turf. Actually only raced on turf once at a much higher level than this maiden claiming $50,000 race at Gulfstream Park back in the championship meet. Now we're in the Royal Palm meet where, again, good competitive races, but not quite at that level. And this horse fits very well at this level with the speed, stretching out after the last race of 5.5 furlongs on synthetic. Not his style, not his thing. Taking the blinkers off again, I think that's going to make this horse try to get involved early. Trainer Jose D'Angelo hits at 31% when he takes blinkers off, so that's another reason to like this horse. So again, morning line favorite, likely post-time favorite, no question about it. I think that, again, leads me to believe, when we looked at the top picks in these races, again, I picked them out before the odds were up, and 3 out of the 4 races that I picked the top pick, that Let Him Run and myself picked the top pick. It was a favorite or close to the favorite, second favorite. But we have a long shot in there. And when we talk about our contenders on Saturday, we'll cover a few other horses that possibly you may want to use in your picks, whether it's your exactas, your trifectas, etc. You're doing any horizontal wagers with pick 3s, pick 4s, and pick 5s. We'll cover some of that. Okay, I'm going to take my glasses off for this next information that I want to share with you, because I personally am very excited about having an individual come on Saturday at 12:30. It's a good friend of mine, lives in the area, Hamilton, where we live. Some of you who are listening and watching may know this individual, one of the top handicappers in the country, and I'm honored and grateful that he's going to join us on Saturday at 12:30 to talk a little bit about the races at Saratoga. John Kostin. This guy is one of the top handicappers in the country. He's been a 4-time National Handicap Championship finalist. He's also hit many big-time 5-figure pick 5s and pick 6s. In addition, he was this close to 2 life-changing scores. One was in the 2023 Kentucky Derby, where he had the favorite for a score of about 238,000. 2023, and I don't want to say this too loud right now, but 2023 was the Derby that Maj won. Somebody kind of liked him a little bit. Again, it was a strange race. I understand. John had the favorite in that race, came in third. I think it was who was that horse? Angel Empire. Angel Empire came in third. He was the favorite. And unfortunately, boy, I would have liked to see that hit for John. $238,000 life-changing score. That's a life-changing score. That had to be heartbreaking. I know it was. We talked to him about it after. Okay, there go the curtains out. Let him run. So don't worry, folks. Everybody's okay. Sorry for that. Got me a little jolted there, but everything's good. So anyway, that was one life-changing score. I just almost had a life-changing situation here, but that was a life-changing score that John just missed on. And another one was Gulfstream Park's Rainbow Mandatory Pick 6 payout. That was another $235,000 Pick 6 payout where he was live to the favorite in the last leg, and the favorite again finished third. Oh, talk about tough beats, tough beat. But don't let that stop John from continuing to make these plays and make these picks, because John is one of the top handicappers in the country without a doubt. And once again, he will be joining Let Him Run on Saturday at 12:30 here again on Capital Sports Network. So be sure to join us. And two of the races that we're going to talk about, I'm going to run by those right now, which are at Saratoga. One of them is race 8 at Saratoga. A little bit earlier on the card based on the times that we talked about. Gulfstream Park, 3:52 Eastern Standard Time. A mile on turf, one of the most popular turf races in Saratoga, the 4-Star Dave. There's a really nice field in this race of 10 horses. There's lots of options for you to pick. Again, John will talk about this a little more, and I certainly recommend we all respect his opinion on who he likes. There's a number of very good horses in this race. Decide who you want to pick on. Make your decision based on your information. We made this pick. Let Him Run made this pick. Our top pick, the number 8, Deterministic, being ridden by a jockey who right now is beginning to get very hot at Saratoga. One of my favorite jockeys, a great guy, Kendrick Caramouche, becoming better and better each week up there in Saratoga. Again, a very big NYRA New York jockey. Started his career at Parks, and I remember watching him ride there a lot. Clearly showed lots of talent back then, and clearly has continued to show that talent throughout his career. And we are picking the horse he's on, number 8, Deterministic, being trained now by Miguel Clement, Christophe Clement's son. God rest his soul. Christophe Clement passed away recently. Miguel Clement has been doing a tremendous job taking over the barn for his father. And this is one of the horses that he is training. This horse is looking very good. Talk about form. Won his last 2 races. Out of his last 6 races, won 4 times, came in second twice. His morning line is 9-2. And to me, that's great. I hope he stays at 9-2. He's likely to be forwardly placed. And at a mile, some of the handicappers podcasts who are looking at this are saying it's a little short for him. He's typically better at a mile and an eighth. I kind of think that that's not going to be a problem for him. Kendrick Caramouche knows this horse well. He's ridden the last 2 times to victory. And trust me, I can tell you this about Kendrick Caramouche. One of the things we used to say about Kendrick, many of the jockeys do have a timer in their head. They kind of know what 21 seconds feels like, what 22, what 24 feels like in the first quarter. They kind of know that. Kendrick Caramouche was fabulous at that. He knew in 7 furlongs, he was one of the best, and still is, one of the best 7 furlong riders, which is a tricky distance. We talked about that. They call it a sprint, really? I don't think so. It's closer to a mile, it's closer to a route race, but nevertheless, they call it a sprint. Kendrick Caramouche was tremendous at riding horses in 7 furlong races. He had that timer in his head. If he saw a horse go out, that horse was going at 21 or change, he let him go. He knew he didn't have to keep up with him. Or the horses were going 24 seconds and he knew he had a horse that had a little power under him, a little speed. He'll take it and move him forward. That's how good he is. And I think that's what's going to happen here. There are some other horses in the race who might want the front, but I know Kendrick Carmouche is good enough to put this horse where he thinks he needs to be to win. I think Miguel Clement has been training him very well. He's ready to come back in this race, and I think that is our pick in the 4-Star Day, one of the more popular races there at Saratoga. Okay, let's get to the Big Daddy race here at Saratoga on Saturday, the Whitney. It's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup in November at Del Mar. So win and you're in. And again, there's some tremendous horses in this race. Mindframe, Skippy Longstocking, Sierra Leone, Disarm, White Barrio, a who's who of some of the best horses we've seen over the last couple of years. And one of the best horses we've seen over the couple of years, and I think this horse is ready to make a big run. The number 9, Fierceness. Morning line favorite at 9-5, and perhaps rightfully so. This horse is just a tremendous horse. Again, like some of the other horses in this race. I like this horse because I think he's been running some very good races lately. His buyer speed figures are so consistent in the last 4 races. I mean, 102, 107, 111, 111. He doesn't run a bad race, and he knows exactly where he'll need to be. And Johnny Velazquez, Hall of Famer Johnny Velazquez, is on this horse once again. Talk about a jockey who knows a horse well. I mean, this horse has raced 11 times in his life. Johnny Velazquez has been on him the last 9 times. Again, there's many horses in this race who have jockeys who've been on their horse for many of the mounts in the lifetime of the horse. I think that means a lot in a race like this. I mean, Fierceness is coming 3rd off the layoff, working out, again, good for the return. Todd Pletcher, once again, looking to win another Whitney Stakes. So you've got a lot of elements that make this horse the morning line favorite, that make this horse the very likely post-time favorite, and make this horse Let 'Em Run's pick in the Whitney. So that's our pick in the Whitney. The number 9 horse, Fierceness, morning line favorite, likely post-time favorite as well. But again, it's going to be a very, very good race with some very good horses, like we mentioned, White Barrio, Disarm, Skippy Longstocking, et cetera, et cetera. So be sure to look closely at that race, and you decide and you make your decision who you want. But also don't forget on Saturday at 12:30, my good friend and that's one of the top handicappers in the country, Johnny Costin, will be here with us to talk about these 2 races and perhaps give us a little more insight into what's going on in Saratoga, because he actually is in Saratoga this weekend. So we look forward to talking to Johnny on Saturday at 12:30. He'll be on just as we start. So be sure to give us a look. Again, Let 'Em Run, 12:30 on Saturday on Capital Sports Network and YouTube. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Look forward to talking to Johnny Costin, and I really can't wait for that. So don't forget, tune in. Check out Florida Sports Talk, where we have our article posted on some of the more details about these races and information you may want to check out. And once again, thank you for joining us. And as always, let 'em run. Play outro.